going to give an introduction, sort of an update on what the MCP team has been doing over the last 12 months, and in particular the regional project officers. There are 5 of us across the country. So yeah, there are 5 project officers. I cover Lincolnshire, Elena covers the North East, we have Sue in Cumbria, Colin in Dorset and Somerset, and Kate in Hereford and Worcester, and Kate's going to speak after me. I'm going to really sort of focus on my own area, but I will give an update on kind of general work that we've been doing, which relates to everyone. So I will mention some things that my colleagues have been doing. So, as I've said, we all began working on the project about this time last year, and it has been a busy 12 months for us. We all met for the first time in mid-December and began to think about how we could get the project going and what we could do next. So for the first few months, really we all focused on building up our contacts in the regions, getting to know our areas. I'm from York myself, so I didn't know Lincolnshire that well, so it took me a while to get a good grip on the geography and where everything was, and meeting our local partners as well. So in Lincolnshire I met with the DAC Secretary Keith Halliday, as well as Church Support Officer Becky Burrows, who's since left and is now being replaced by Matthew Godfrey, and the Development Officer as well, Ben Stoker, and also had a chat with Catherine Banfield at the new Heritage Skills Centre, which is on the picture here. And this was also kind of thinking about how we might work together in the future. I also met with Penny and Matthew from Heritage Lincolnshire as well, which are another one of my local partners. In addition to this, I also spoke about the project at a number of events and seminars. So that included an architects colloquium organised by the Lincoln Diocese Church Buildings team, the Historic Religious Buildings Alliance, a number of deanery synod meetings where I gave an overview of the project and details of how to get involved. And I also attended the Lincolnshire Heritage Forum Conference and continue to attend volunteer forums and events organised by the Voluntary Centre Services in Lincolnshire as well. This delightful picture here is Elena and I, who spoke at the University of York's Engaging Conservation Workshop in February, and I also gave a presentation at another Engaging Conservation event in Grantham as well. The idea behind that programme of events was to get people thinking about how to involve people in conservation, so it fitted really well with the aims of our project. And Elena and I were really pleased to be involved with it. Other members of the team have also been spreading the word in their areas. So, for example, Kate Andrew attended the Worcester Cathedral's annual symposium. Sue gave a presentation to the Windermere Reflections group of churches, and James also gave some maintenance training at that as well. Colin's given presentations at Caring for God's Acre conferences, and Elena's met with Inspired North East colleagues and visited a number of churches in the North East who are interested in the project. So we've all been out and about, kind of telling everyone about the project and trying to get everyone involved if we can. A main area of work for us in the regions is to prepare training programmes, both for anyone in the region who wants to come along, and more specifically for the co-op groups that we're helping to set up. But we also need training ourselves, as some of us are relatively new to preventative maintenance. So in March this year, we all got together up in Clapham in the Yorkshire Dales for some training on maintenance and to think about different training events that we might put on and how we might structure them. So as well as wandering around the church to look at some real life maintenance issues, Kate Andrew also trialled a training session there that she was hoping to do and asked us for some feedback, which was really helpful for her. And members of the team have also attended the SPAB's mould and condensation course as well, and which I'm sure was absolutely thrilling. And I'm sure you'll all be pleased to know that we've all had emergency first aid training as well. Here we are. And Colin is showing what not to do with a baby, which is to shake it. Sorry, I had to put those in. Okay. So by around about May this year, we were ready to start putting on our first events, at which we launched the project and gave potential volunteers a taster training session on undertaking a maintenance survey. I had 2 launch events in my region, one in the south at Waplode on the 31st of May, and here are some pictures from that day on the screen, and one in the north at Caister on the 28th of June. Others also had 2 or 3 launch events in their regions, which followed much the same format. And feedback from these was generally very positive, although someone who came to my last event a couple of weeks ago did tell me, as he was leaving, this has been a fantastic event, I've really enjoyed it, so much better than that thing in Waplode that you had. I've learnt so much more. Okay, well that's kind of positive, I suppose. I'm taking it as that. In terms of the idea of the project and what we hope to do though, most people did think it sounded like a good idea. And we got some great suggestions for future training sessions as well. And everyone seemed to like James's condition survey, which is good, and in particular the idea of a maintenance schedule. It wasn't all positive though, and the feedback from our events shows that not everyone would like to join a co-op if the group was developed in their area. It's roughly 50-50 yes and unsure, so it's only 8% that have said no on the feedback forms. And it's also worth bearing in mind that we haven't input all of our feedback as yet. We've been very busy preparing for today and organising other events and so on. But some of the feedback as well is from events which weren't completely focused on the aims of the project. So at my last event I just gave a really quick overview of the aims of the project before the workshop sessions began, because it was a day on repair project. So that might have influenced people's answers. But it's interesting to see the figures, I think, and to think as well about some of the comments that we've had. So some of the people that said no or they weren't sure are on the screen. And I think this is something that we now need to start thinking about. So things like, I'm too busy, there's too much organisation, we just don't have the time, we don't have people nearby. And the idea of the project is to kind of bring more volunteers in to help with regular maintenance work. So maybe we're not quite selling it properly, maybe we're not getting the message across properly, maybe we're not targeting the right audience, because although a lot of people ticked unsure, quite a lot of the comments were, well maybe, but I'll have to ask my PCC, or some of the no comments were actually kind of, it's not my role, this is something for church wardens. So perhaps we've got the wrong people sort of coming to our events, I don't know, maybe that's just me. Or maybe we need to offer something extra or something less. That's all things that we need to think about at the moment. And not because we're worried that if we don't set up as many co-ops as possible, we'll be unsuccessful and the HLF won't be very happy with us. It's because we really believe in the aims and objectives of the project. We want to be able to help as many people as we can to look after their places of worship. So if you do have any ideas or suggestions that might help us, do let us know either on the feedback forms or come and have a chat to us in one of the breaks or at lunchtime and sort of let us know what you think about this. So is there something we could do differently? Something else that we could offer? Back to what we've been doing over the last 12 months, and following on from our initial launch events, we've had a range of training days and other sessions across the country. Some of these have been general training, and some of them have been more specific maintenance training for new groups that have set up. And we've had really good attendance at them all as well. I don't know if the fact that they're free and usually involve tea and biscuits or lunch helps, but that's usually the case. And in addition to these, we've also given presentations and training at events organised by others. So for example, Sue and James have delivered sessions as part of new church warden training in Cumbria. If you can't read the screen, it is a bit small, I'm sorry. We've sold a total of 473 tickets in the last 12 months across our various events, not including today. This is the number of tickets booked, so it's not really the number of people, because you might have someone come to 2 or 3 events. And it also includes speakers and trainers as well, but I think that's quite impressive actually. 473 people, tickets. And these events have included faith in maintenance courses, which are still running, it's now FIM2. And these are offered free within each region as part of the project. So this is the course that was held in Lincoln on the 24th of June. And we've run, or are soon to run, courses in all of the other regions as well. They continue to be very successful. People continue to find them really helpful and useful. It's fantastic that we can still put them on. One of the most often ticked boxes for training events in my region was something on grants and funding. Isn't really the focus of our project, but is something that I know a lot of places of worship do find difficult, especially if you've never applied for a grant before and now need to urgently fix the leaking roof. So I organised a grants and funding workshop, which I held in September, and this was really successful. It was fully booked, it was overbooked for a while, but a couple of people cancelled and it all worked out in the end. And I managed to persuade a really good range of people to come and give presentations or run a workshop as well. So on the slide, you can see delegates putting their ducks in order. So each duck was a stage in the application process, and they kind of lined them up in order, which was really good fun. And everyone did sort of leave saying, oh, it was really, really helpful, really good, thank you. So that's on the screen, it's just one of the comments that I had in an email afterwards from somebody. So it makes me feel quite proud of all of the speakers that were there on the day. In relation to actual hands-on training, Sue has recently held a care and conservation of textiles course in Lanacross. I assume it was fantastic, although I wasn't there myself. And on the slide are pictures of the Lanacross dossal, which looks absolutely fantastic. So that's getting more sort of hands-on in relation to training. And we've also started doing some baseline surveys and sort of condition surveys as well. And I'm sure Kate and Ben and Andrew will say a lot more about this in their presentation, which is next. But in Hereford and Worcester, they started to undertake these surveys for the places of worship involved in co-ops set up there. And Kate's volunteers have also been busy clearing gutters and drain pipes and all sorts as well. So putting their faith in maintenance training into practice. So we've got lots more events lined up, which are all on our website, and I will put up a list at the end of my presentation of what's coming up next. On our feedback forms, we ask people to select training topics that would be of interest to them, and the top 5 are, thankfully, preventative maintenance is right up there at the top, which is good. We've then got fundraising and grants. Next up is caring for churchyards, so we're very pleased that we're working with Caring for God's Acre. Dealing with damp is a main thing that people want training on, and listing planning and faculty applications. So again, like today's fulfilling a lot of those requests there, so that's good. And we'll be trying to tailor our training programme to accommodate all of these, which is one of the best bits about the job for me really. Because if people ask me for help with something and I can arrange a training course or some advice for them, that's great, and that means that everyone gets something out of it, which is fantastic. So if there is anything else that you would like a training session on, please do let us know, even if you think it might sound a bit wacky or, well, oh, I'm going to look a bit silly because I probably should know all about this already. Don't worry, let us know, and hopefully we can arrange a course for you. While we've been doing all of this, we've also been developing our toolkit, which is a range of documents, templates and guidance notes to help set up a co-op. The main aspect of this is James's baseline condition survey and maintenance schedule template, as well as guidance and so on as well. But it also includes articles of association and volunteer agreements and so on, which is perhaps why some people have expressed concern about the assumed admin and paperwork in their feedback responses. But most of these documents are used just when the co-op is first being set up, and after that there shouldn't be too much paperwork to do in theory. The appointed volunteer coordinator, if there is one, or ourselves as project officers, will be responsible for most of this anyway. So whenever I speak about a project, I always tell people not to worry about it. So it really shouldn't be too much admin. It's really just getting together and and supporting each other really. All of this is on our website though, so do have a look and let us know what you think. We can still make a few changes. If everyone says, well, this document will not work for us, or it would be helpful if it was written in a different way, we can still make those changes, so do let us know. And so coming up to a year into the project, we're now at a stage where we've got 1 or 2 co-op groups set up, mainly in Kate's area, and I'm sure she'll tell us all about these, but groups are starting to develop in the other regions as well. So just thinking again about those comments from people who said they were a bit unsure, as you might expect, we found it's been quite hard to recruit volunteers, especially when it's difficult to say what they'll be doing until a condition survey has been undertaken and a maintenance schedule drawn up. Now the idea of the co-op is that the co-op is a group of volunteers rather than a group of churches, which also adds problems in terms of places to meet and the overall structure of the group. Initially, we thought a group might begin by looking after one place of worship and then add more as it develops. So I've gone ahead on that basis, with one key building being the sort of anchor point for the group. And I've come up with 3 options for how a group could work. This is just me in Lincolnshire. I think it works across the other regions as well. So firstly, the co-op operates as a network. So members meet up at training sessions and events, but only carry out maintenance work at their own church. Secondly, the group acts as a sort of club, with members meeting regularly and undertaking maintenance work at all places of worship that they look after. And this may mean that certain members of the group are responsible for certain tasks, or specific tasks might be undertaken more as an event. So perhaps all members meet up at a place of worship and tackle a specific issue, so cleaning gutters perhaps, which ideally would be quite a sociable event as well. And then the other option is kind of a combination of the two, so volunteers would continue to carry out work at their own place of worship, but there might be an event type activity organised for anything which might require several people. So this could mean the church warden just emailing the network to see if anyone's free to help. So that's what I'm kind of proposing to my potential co-op groups in Lincolnshire. And just to look at a couple of those, this is All Saints Church in Bennington, which is a CCT project church, and it's currently undergoing a major project to turn it into a community hub. And this is they've named this the Beyond Project, and it's being managed by both the CCT via Heritage Lincolnshire and the newly formed Bennington Community Trust, and they've had a lot of success so far in terms of fundraising, events and volunteer recruitment. So I've recently proposed to them that a club-style co-op be set up in the Bennington area, with All Saints acting as the central focus for this. It's an ideal venue for training sessions and events, and once the work's been completed, it'll be fantastic for meetings as well. So they've agreed that it's a good idea, and especially in terms of kind of joint training programme and pooling resources with other nearby churches. They've got a lot more resources than the other churches, so that's fantastic actually in terms of volunteers and expertise that they can offer. So hopefully by Christmas they will officially be a cooperative. I've got a meeting arranged with everyone who's interested in joining the group very soon, so fingers crossed for that one. And then my other one, sorry Robin, you're in the slide. I've put forward a similar proposal to places of worship kind of in and around Winterton, the North Man Lake area, which is in North Links, and they've also agreed in principle to the idea of a co-op. And in fact Robin was one of the first people to contact me when I took up my post last year. He's been very enthusiastic and a great supporter of the project, and as has parish priest Alice Nunn, who's in the picture here. And this was at my launch event in Caister. So we're meeting up on Monday actually to hopefully agree the structure of the co-op and the next steps. And we're lucky to have enthusiastic support from the Methodist Church here as well, who've also suggested co-ops in Scunthorpe and Epworth. So I'm feeling quite positive about the project at this moment, and looking forward actually to the next 12 months. I think it's going to be quite exciting. In terms of upcoming events then, these are some of them. Some of them are specific for particular groups and co-ops, and they're all definitely hands-on maintenance, those first four. The final one is dealing with damp, because that is one of the main things that people want to get some information on and learn how to mitigate. So that's going to be at the end of January in Lincolnshire. So do come along. If you have any questions or comments, please do come and talk to us at lunchtime. And our contact, you've all got a flyer in your packs as well. Our contact details are all on there, so don't hesitate to get in touch with us. If you sort of get home and say, oh, I should have asked that, do let us know. And in answer to the question of how many volunteers it takes to clear a gutter, I think perhaps our next speaker, my colleague Kate Anderson, might actually be able to answer that question, because she has done this with her group. So I shall leave it there for now. Thank you very much.